So today is Christmas, so among other things, that means that today's NBA slate is really a showcase. We've got to talk about what that means and how Kawhi Leonard has kind of changed how we view this. And all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. And today, I want to talk about the NBA. Merry Christmas to all of you. I am working because I love working. I love what I do. And I'm having a great time today. We started the day with the NBA. 11 a.m. tip-off. We're going all the way through the night. It's going to be an outstanding showcase of basketball. But it also means that Kawhi Leonard is going to face LeBron James in the biggest game on Christmas, a game we've all been looking forward to, and frankly, one the NBA needs. But I wanted to start this conversation by talking about just what Kawhi Leonard and load management have meant to the NBA and how that's kind of rounding out in the way that NBA is being viewed. Now, many of you will probably know NBA television viewership is down, and that's on cable, right? It's not necessarily across the board because engagement in the NBA, whether it be on Twitter or Reddit or wherever it is that you consume the NBA, has never been higher, particularly among a younger demographic of the four major sports, that be basketball, that be football, hockey and baseball, or Major League Baseball, NHL, NFL, and NBA. The NBA has the lowest number when it comes to its median age of watchers. They're right there in that 18 to 34-year-old demographic, which is where a lot of people want to be because that means that the younger generation grows up with you. When they come into buying power, they spend more money on you because they have a relationship with you. And I'm in this 32, so I'm in that range. And I love the NBA. I don't talk about it as much here because the audience still is growing toward what they might want to hear me talk about and what they might not. I'm going to do more NBA. I want to get into some Major League Baseball as well because I love those sports. And we all know I like the NFL and we know I love college football and recruiting. And those things aren't going to change. But what's changing is how you're viewing this, right? You're watching this on YouTube, which is not a traditional means of watching anything. It's still called social media, which I think is flawed, because it's just media. It's just how we consume whatever it is we want to get to. And with things like House of Highlights, which are condensing 2.5-hour games or even 2-hour games into 10 minutes of highlights, and you're not really missing much, you change the way that people view this. And there are not a lot of us that have a lot of money, so we can't afford cable subscriptions. I pay for League Pass because I love League Pass and I love the NBA. And the team that I'm going to watch the most is the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they ain't very good. They're just above 500. They're better than I thought they would be. But I'm having much more fun watching Giannis Antekounmpo at Milwaukee and have more fun watching Kawhi Leonard, Paul George when they do decide to play together, which I'll get to, with the Clippers and LeBron James and, yes, Anthony Davis. And, of course, I am having a ball watching the 76ers figure this thing out. The same thing with the Boston Celtics and Kemba Walker and what they look like now that they don't have a cancer at point guard and they have a guy that will sell out at point guard in Kemba, who showed what he was going to do over the summer playing for the national team, which he has yearned to do. And we'll pull for that kind of guy because he's laying it out on the line every night, and that's how we feel like we would go through life and how we would play in the NBA if we were blessed with that kind of talent. Now, as Giannis Antetokounmpo and Milwaukee are 27-4 heading into their game against the 76ers, they're also chasing history, not unlike the Lakers, who have 6 losses, right? At this point in the 73-win season at Golden State, we're talking about a team that took its first L, ironically, to Milwaukee, December 12th, 2015, started the season 24-0, right? January 22nd, at like 43-4, okay? Or, 39-4, 43 total games, 39-4. So that would mean that Milwaukee would have to go undefeated through that to catch up to what Golden State was able to do with the 73 wins. Now, I think the Lakers are probably going to get to that 60-win mark. We know Milwaukee's going to get to that 60-win mark. But should they be chasing the 73-win record? Some people would say no, because you'll look at Golden State and you'll know they didn't win the NBA title that year. And some of that, you could say, was about how fresh they were going into those series because, hey, man, it takes a lot to play from April to June after having played from October to April. And that's how we got into this conversation about load management, which for many of us is just a form of rest, right? And it's not just that it's rest, it's that you're declaring to the world, this fella is not going to play tonight because we want him fresher down the stretch. Famously last year, Toronto made this work with Kawhi Leonard. And even before that, Greg Popovich was doing it with the San Antonio Spurs, even going so far as to not have some of his star players fly to games because he knew they weren't going to play. Now, it's a bad look for a league that thrives on its players. How good the players are, how exciting the players are, has so much to do with how we feel about the sport we're watching. And if we don't know that if we do know that LeBron James isn't going to play, or Kawhi Leonard isn't going to play, or James Harden, or pick a star, you're probably not going to be as interested in that game because you showed up to watch that guy do his thing. You didn't really show up to watch Mo Harkless play. No shade to Mo Harkless. He's an outstanding defender and he's a great fourth guy. But I didn't show up to watch Lou Williams play the point either. I showed up to watch Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and more Kawhi Leonard than Paul George. And that goes across the league. And you'll remember, those of you old enough, the slight dip that went into the NBA when Michael Jordan wasn't around for it because he's such the draw. We're going to go into that in a few years' time when LeBron James goes away, and we're going to figure out how the NBA can navigate this. But Adam Silver gave quotes to Ben Golliver in a Washington Post story that's phenomenal, that talks about how the NBA is dealing with its viewership and how it believes that legacy media, that would mean traditional media like cable, TNT, ESPN, ABC, where people are used to watching high-profile primetime games, is going to change. Now, this year, they did something I think was really smart, which is remove the word load management from the stat book because it's become toxic. And they have told teams, you cannot sit your star player if he is not injured on a primetime television game, because they understand people aren't going to watch that, especially in the first few months of the season where many of us are still watching the NFL on Thursday nights when you have primetime games for the NBA. The same thing goes on Saturday for college football and, of course, Sunday in the NFL. The NFL is still king when we're talking about viewership here because we are a football country first, right? So in talking about the NBA, which is my second favorite sport behind college football, means NFL is third for me and Major League Baseball is fourth, though I'll watch them all. But if you're asking for a ranking, that's what I'm doing. Adam Silver is saying, look, we're going to have to redraw up how we do some of this and not necessarily go straight to Amazon or Google or wherever streaming services might be. Netflix, YouTube has a great streaming service that I use. You might even just look at some of these places like HBO, Time Warner Media that are trying to bundle all these packages together, Disney Plus being one of these that just came out a month ago, and see if you can't figure out how to get us, the younger folks who are already using all these services, to watch more of the NBA and to consume it in that way and spend our money on it, right? Because that's the thing about the NBA. The NBA is great for us because we can really keep up with the culture, the fashion, the trends, the pettiness of it without actually watching the games. And for some people, the games don't even matter much. They're more into the trades. They're more into the salary cap. They're more into where's this player going to play next as opposed to where's this player playing now. Last year, we had this huge discussion around Anthony Davis that had nothing to do with how good the Pelicans were or how good the Lakers were. They both were sorry, but we didn't really care. And yet, we wanted to know what Anthony Davis was going to do, and we wanted to know all the machinations behind Rich Paul and the maneuvering, and Adrian Wojnarowski became everybody's favorite reporter across the country for 3 months again, as he will every summer, as NBA free agency has become its own separate season. Now, in thinking about all of this, right, I go back to thinking about Kawhi Leonard and load management and how that guy wants to play for a very long time, but also the game and the seasons are so long, right? 82 games. We're talking about October to June if you're that good and win them all. You're not going to play for a very long time if you're wearing your body out. At the same time, we're buying the opportunity to watch him play. So the league has to figure out how to get those two to meet. And you can't force the Players Association to do anything. They've actually done a very good job of establishing who they are and what they're willing to do and what they're not willing to do, which is why Adam Silver has said, hey, what if we shorten the season by 4 games and we add a 30-team tournament to which we'll pay each player $1 million if they win, which makes this a lot like European soccer, for which I love. And now that I think about it, soccer is probably my third favorite sport, or my second favorite sport, if we're talking globally, right? Because I would do all the EPL content here because I'm an Arsenal fan, and I'm not sure what to feel about Mikel Arteta except that he can't scout talent. That's the soccer bit. But as we continue to talk about what Kawhi Leonard has done, how he's pioneered this new form and style of play, and we've seen more players that are aging take advantage of it, and younger players play more, and they'll age into load management, especially if they become max players, even super max players. Are we willing to put up with that? I think we are. I think we should shorten the season, and that's going to be a proposal that goes up in April. We'll see how it gets voted. The same thing with the in-game tournament, which I was leading to with the EPL conversation. You have lots of tournaments in professional soccer. You have League Cups. You have Champions League. You have UEFA. You have the FIFA World Cup. You have the Olympics. All of these things work in concert. But they also play as many months as the NBA does. So I think that there's something you can learn from that. And as Adam Silver's trying to grow the NBA into much more of a global game, setting up shop in Africa, setting up shop in India, huge market in China, we're going to see more of this. So I'm excited to see where Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kawhi Leonard, and the rest lead us in this era. But I'm more excited to watch the games, but I seem to be in the minority. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Deuces.